So after this Help Kenya Not Kanye site blew up, I got an invitation to go to my first South by Southwest. It's important to note that South by Southwest is inspired by Alfred Hitchcock's North by Northwest. But this festival was nothing like a horror movie. In fact, it was probably the best week of my life. After picking up my badge and bumping into Todd from Breaking Bad and Fargo, I headed over to see NBA Commissioner Adam Silver speak. This is what he said when asked about whether Seattle would get a team again.
The issue for the NBA right now is that, in part for the very reasons we talked about, that every team, in essence, can have a global following, that the need to expand the footprint by physically putting another team in a market becomes less important from a league standpoint. And therefore, the way the owners see expansion at the moment is really the equivalent of selling equity in the league.
So I guess LA gets 2 teams, but you'll still get stuck with none. Then I set off to see the president drop some science about government.
Part of my challenge since I've been president is trying to find ways in which our government can be a part of the positive change that's taking place. What I'm saying is, number one, government actually works better in so many areas than we give it credit for, because we tend to focus on those areas where it's not working as well. Government does great things. We take it for granted, and it's not a story. I mean, every day, government is delivering for everybody in this room, whether you know it or not. I can find the fiercest libertarian in the room who despises every level of government, thinks it's all corrupt. But they're checking the weather on their phone, and lo and behold, it turns out that there's a government satellite out there that is facilitating that. And they'd be really irritated if they couldn't figure out whether it was going to be 70 and sunny or 60 and rainy tomorrow.
And naturally, since Obama was heading to Cuba that Sunday to discuss further diplomatic relations with the island, I headed to a talk about how to conduct business in Cuba. This is a hot topic to which Obama might say, sidebar, download the Diddy app. It lets you make videos on the fly just by typing in a sentence like this. Anyways, what I learned here was that investments in Cuba really need to be investments in the well-being of Cubans. With 11 million people averaging about $25 a month, that's not a lot of purchasing power to help a business flourish. Try instead to empower Cuba instead of focusing on profits. But don't empower the wrong Cuba though, because then this happens. Yep, that's Cuba Gooding Jr. eating a phone. Maybe that's the sequel to Help Kenya Not Kanye. Help Cuba, not Cuba. Naturally, after an intense talk about Cuba, I needed to laugh. So I went to go see Kelly Daly talk about how comedy is the new journalism. Getting your news from satirical comedy is a totally viable source nowadays. And I learned Aristophanes was the Greek Spike Lee. The more you know. Okay, day 1 panel's done. Now time to hang out with old friends and listen to good music.
With the call, would you bang it or? It just slowly goes down too once you get older.
Next morning, I attended a talk called Pimp My Brain, a guide to do-it-yourself brain hacking. I walked over excited, like Exhibit going to install a fish tank in the backseat of a beat-up box Chevy.
I think part of our excitement about putting this session together was the curiosity that we had in seeing the emerging possibilities of these various simulation techniques, the popularity that was surrounding them, and how they really turned into something that was accessible not just to scientists working in laboratories, but to individuals who are simply interested in the possibilities of technologies.
But their interpretation of do-it-yourself is attaching a 9-volt battery to 2 wires and zapping my brain with it. I'll pass. But this movement is picking up real steam with inventions like Think, an external device you wear that works by signaling nerves on the head and neck to act on the brain's adrenaline system to activate your body's natural state of energy and calm. A little too weird for me. Then I want to find out how my office is shaping my brain. Turns out this trend of open office space is actually terrible. 62% increase in sick days and 15% decrease in productivity. After all that brain talk, I decided to put my body to work. Ugh, that sounded weird. Not like that. I'm talking about the MedTech Expo. And it was surprisingly the most interactive section of the entire interactive festival. I used exercise to play video games with Goji Play, a simple device that allows you to turn any cardio machine into a video game controller.
You got it going,
Then
buddy.
Oscar popped my mechanical bull cherry.
There you go. All right. Y'all give it up for him. He's doing a good job. He's at 20 seconds. Give a little encouragement. Whoa.
Oscar's an insurance company, not some
Get back on
dude.
there.
I
You
should
can do it.
mention that.
Yeah, get on there. Hey, good job.
And then I did a 5-minute plank to win a $100 gift card to Whole Foods, which I then lost because some yogi came after and did 15 minutes. Whatever though, $100 at Whole Foods isn't much.
$100 at Whole Foods is like an apple. Maybe we'll get a carrot too. Yeah.
Then I headed over to Analog by American Greetings, a client I helped win when I was at Mullen in Boston with a great team that's still doing killer work. The concept of Analog at a technology conference is genius. But it wasn't just an assault on machines. It showed how our human influence can make machines better. Like this artist that uses tech to make her art and said maybe the nerdiest sentence of all South by.
So the biometric anthropomorphic robot hand is being developed by GU at the Grad Lab at Yale University. It can mimic the human hand with amazing clarity, and it's poised to eventually be controlled by brain waves. It's the ultimate prosthetic.
Or the incredible Michael Birch Pierce, who stitches selfies in less than 5 minutes. Boss! Now that my face was officially a work of art, my work there was done. I went over to the Take 5 swag exchange hosted by my friend and former mentor Katie. The concept here was that you get tons of useless swag at South by Southwest, so they'll let you trade it in for things you actually want. Like say, trade in a dorky beer koozie from Texas A&M for a banana flask. Sign me up. Also, sign me up for unicorns that eat Skittles.
Can you feed them Skittles again?
Horses love Skittles. People love Skittles. Horses love Skittles.
Keeping Austin weird. Next on the list was, if you're in advertising, you might be racist. What? I'm curious about that. They opened up with a quote from Mark Twain. Many a small thing has been made large by the right kind of advertising. Their point was that the wrong kind of advertising has made the small things that differentiate us into large things that divide us.
We have more data now than we've ever had to really use to our advantage and talk about the insides of the consumer instead of the outsides.
And that's really what differentiates us, our insides and not our outsides. What they proposed was that maybe our standard agency briefs are off. Like say, making generalizations about Hispanic and African moms by saying they're less health conscious. Are we misusing race by starting out like this? Starting out with a difference is what creates this divide. In the end, we're all human. All mothers want the best for their kids. Well, almost all.
Cállense la boca, chicos, que no me dejan oír.
Should we rethink how we target people? Maybe we should open up a niche marketing agency for white people. Minorities are becoming the majority after all. One of the panelists was Arwa Madawi, creator of Rent a Minority, a satire site where you can get diversity on demand, like the intellectual black guy or the ethnically ambiguous chick. It was a joke, but it kind of spoke to the joke that some of our advertising has become. If you've worked in multicultural advertising, you've been on a set where a client has said something borderline racist like, "This doesn't look like a couch a Hispanic would own." To quote one of the panelists, Louis Moses, "Who says Hispanics can't own nice things? We don't think of nice things when we think of black people either. Why don't we? When we say African American, that could mean black, gay, Republican, Trump supporter. It could mean a lot of things. And part of that may be our fault, but we have the power to change that image. The race box is a lazy way of identifying identity. Let's look at common behaviors and attitudes before we consider race. Let's avoid stereotypes. The multicultural agency is ahead of the curve because, let's face it, we're living in a multicultural country, and now everyone else is playing catch up. We have to quit thinking of people in terms of black, white, and brown. The only color clients care about is green, and getting to what's inside someone is always what rakes home the green. Sorry, that whole section got pretty serious. I hope it's not too late to say I'm sorry.
Is it too late now to say sorry? Cause I miss you more than your body. So weird, man. Is it too late now to say sorry? Yeah, I know that I let you down. Too late to say sorry now. Sorry. Come on, get into it. Sorry. All right, guys, come to my chat Monday morning, 9:30 a.m., Convention Center, room 12AB. Thanks.
After the sidewalk karaoke, Lyft rewarded me with this incredible silver sequin jacket, which I wore all night, including the Mr. Robot party.
This is so fucking cool.
Hay que sacarle el palo de la parte de abajo.
I ducked out early to go see my favorite all-time hip-hop DJ a foot away from me, DJ Premier.
Your hands, everybody, if you got what it takes. Cause I'm KRS and I'm on the mic and Premier's on the way. Oh yeah!
And as if that wasn't enough, Common hit the stage and gave us all goosebumps with an incredible hour-plus performance.
Yes, glorious destined. Everyday women and men become legends. Sins go against our skin, become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is juxtaposition in us. Justice for all, just think specific enough. One son died, the spirit is revenge. visiting us. True and living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. We walk through Chicago with our hands up. We walk through Austin with our hands up. Shots we on the ground, the camera band up. King pointed to the mountaintop and we ran up.
What this had to do with Capital One, I still don't know. But thank you, multi-billion-dollar bank lenders, for this free concert.
Larger scale, with, if you imagine this being 20 foot long and the flat fabric's 3 feet off the screen.
Day 3 was a deep dive into virtual reality. VR was a thing at South by Southwest. It seemed to be everywhere. From virtual meditation to wearing VR goggles inside whatever this egg beater thing is, to an epic VR roller coaster that gave me real vertigo. And well, I think I said it best in my panel.
VR is funny. It's like taking 3 tequila shots at the club. It's like you lose all your inhibitions when you put this thing on. You forget other people can see you. It's really funny.
This McDonald's VRist experience was actually pretty cool. You could paint inside a virtual Happy Meal and walk through and around your painting. Oh yeah, and my panel. Look ma, I made it.
On the offensive and put this site together. So as of this morning, we've raised over $8,000. So that's pretty good. Thank you guys. That goes a long way in Africa. I think in general, doing good is our responsibility as citizens of the world, right? And that's something that I would like you guys to take away from this. And it's really easy to do good, but it's even easier to do nothing, you know? This is a funny tweet. When I lay down to go to sleep at night, I remember all the things I forgot to do. Hashtag burrito, hashtag help Kenya, not Kanye. So I'm just challenging you guys, don't be a slacktivist. I think I've displayed how easy it is to go out and do something. So hopefully, you know, after this talk, you guys feel really motivated to think of something and put it out there in the world. I think even Kanye can agree with that.
Check out the whole speech at this link. I did it, it's over. Now off to celebrate in style.
You showing up fucking at your ass is 6 feet deep.
This has been my favorite ride.
Still doing that shit, Andre? Oh, for sure. Yeah. Check me out.
In South by Southwest, riding is the new driving, and pedicabs are the way to go. Because they have great taste in hip-hop.
Stacking questions with no answers. Kill for cancer, kill for AIDS. Like a nigga wanna stay on chill for days. Get back home, things are wrong. We're now dealing by it all along. So let that go to a ball of power. Top to 1,000 miles an hour. Hello ghetto, let your brain breathe. Believe there's always more. Ow!
What better way to celebrate than to stuff my face like a savage at the world famous Voodoo Donuts? The Fruit Loop donut should be illegal. Speaking of what should and shouldn't be illegal, but seriously, it should be illegal to take a picture of a screen with a tablet that has a keyboard attached to it. Just too nerdy. Go directly to jail, do not pass go. This talk, entitled Adblockgeddon, was all about the advances in ad blocking technology. No news here. People hate ads. 36% of online users rather give up content than see ads. And others are paying not to see them, like on YouTube Red. This isn't a new problem. Back in the 50s, Samuel Johnson said this: advertisements are now so numerous that they are very negligently perused, and it has therefore become necessary to gain attention by magnificence of promises. 1750s, that is. I told you this problem was old. A large part of this trend is that the ads people are getting are just annoying. mainly retargeting ads. You can see the rise of ad blocking going up with the rise of retargeting ads. They're the worst. So bad that there's even a plugin called Ghostery that you can download to see which sites are trying to retarget you with ads. You can then simply uncheck them to fix that problem, which is a problem for us as advertisers. But in a way it's good. If ad blocking succeeds, then it will save the advertising industry because it will force us to make more entertaining and less invasive ads that people don't hate. Kind of like they don't hate J.J. Abrams and Andrew Jarecki. They make awesome stuff like Star Wars.
So there are people whose job it is, and I try to help wherever I can. The great thing about directing Star Wars, you can say, I can't help you, I'm directing Star Wars. That was awesome. Now that's over. Fuck. The truth is that it's all hard. And anyone who makes anything knows this. There's no easier path. It's just
Andrew makes amazing documentaries like The Jinx that send people like Robert Durst to jail.
The idea that it's possible someone can be a murderer and also be a person, also be somebody who had hopes and dreams, didn't anticipate when he was a kid that he was going to grow up and be this triple homicide suspect. So what is it about him that makes him human? In the case of Bob Durst, we knew that we would have to go beyond the eyes because there's nothing there. The strangest thing about Bob, and partly it's because he's a huge stoner, and he's just a wake and bake stoner at a level that I literally have footage of Bob Durst buying $2,500 worth of pot, which is a lot of pot. It's like a duffel bag of pot. And this is a guy who's just always stoned. And I think that's partly him kind of self-anesthetizing and partly him, being intrinsically unambitious. Ultimately, he's a guy who's been wealthy all his life, doesn't really want to look into the abyss, and therefore medicates himself in that way. But as a result, there's nothing going on in the eyes. And it's not just the pot smoking, it's also just the whole history of it. He has a lot of things to look back on that are probably not pleasant to imagine.
He also launched the Know Me app, an on-the-fly video editing tool for people that aren't professionals but want their videos to look better than Snapchat.
All you have to do is touch the viewfinder in the middle and start talking. Just like this. Hey guys, it's Neve. Guess what I did this weekend? Once you let go, that clip is added to your message. You can also talk over any picture or video already on your phone. Just pick one, hold it down, and talk over it. Like this. I went to a wedding with some friends, and I totally got my groove on. And then everybody ended up jumping in the pool. To preview your message, tap the play button. Check it out. Hey guys, it's Neve. Guess what I did this weekend? I went to a wedding with some friends, and I totally got my groove on. And then everybody ended up jumping in the pool. It's that quick. That's how you know me.
That talk was titled The Eyes of Robots and Murderers. Why I walked into the arms of a potentially murderous robot afterwards beats me. But I survived, showing that maybe the future of man and machine doesn't have to end like the Terminator. Some loose ends. T-shirts with pigs wearing VR goggles are dope. This guy used to live in a dumpster, but now he lives in this 208 square foot tiny home he built himself, which is pretty dope. And Rotten Tomatoes knows how to host a dope panel.
A movie like 50 Shades of Grey. Okay, all right, mostly rotten. Hold on a second.
But who's fresh?
I see 3 freshes. All y'all nasty. I like you guys. We're gonna hang out after this.
I ended up having to leave South by Southwest right before the music section of the festival. But I was lucky enough to meet this amazing musician at the airport, Alice Black, before I left. Check out her stuff, and see you next year, South by.
So I'm gonna love you like I